Welcome back to the Advisory Table, our series of fireside chats with industry influencers and thought leaders. Today, we're joined by CEO and co-founder of simplydbs, a data and analytics firm. With over 20 years of experience, she brings with her a wealth of knowledge. Please welcome today's guest, Sarah Segal. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Michael. You're aging me.
Am I?
20 years.
You have 20 years experience.
I do have 20
yeah.
years. Yeah.
So listen, it's a good thing too. I know, I get it. It's sensitive, but why don't we jump right into it? Okay. I think one very important thing, I geek out on a lot of what you guys do. Okay. I love it, but not all of our listeners sort of understand the data side of the business. So for those less familiar with that side of the business, can you sort of tell us what simplydbs is and provide us with a breakdown, what it does?
Great. So we are a customer feedback and survey company. Mm-hmm. And what we mean by customer is anyone, anywhere who uses buildings. So it was identified that there was a hole in the market. What do everyday people, whether it's office, industrial, retail, or the living spectrum, what do they want of our buildings? What do they expect in terms of amenities, preferences, service levels, safety issues, and how do we prioritize that? And then from that comes a huge amount of ancillary benefit in terms of data products that we can roll out. So what we have done with our company is create products from development concept through the development cycle into the move-in or occupancy phase, and then into the operational aspects of a property. In addition, we cover from tenant to, let's say, investor relations. So we're going property manager, leasing, asset manager, portfolio manager, award, certification, marketing, and then investor relations. Our data should be and is being used across the entire chain of an organization. So it really is a powerhouse of feedback and sentiment across all asset classes, touching a number of different areas.
So if I'm a developer, mm-hmm. right, I have a potential project, I do my pro forma, I do my feasibility. Like, why should I care? Tell me why I should care about this.
We want a 360 view when we're doing something, both because Capital right now is taking a bit of a closer look at what we're doing and how we're doing it, but also because we want to build buildings that maximize value for us and for the people in them. So if we're relying on past successes and understanding that this is a new way of looking at feedback, if we're relying on past successes, that's half of the story. Yes, it worked. Yes, it did a good job. But what about the future, right? We're looking at dynamic environments within the past, what year is it? It's 2026. So within the last 6 years, we've had arguably a difficult economic cycle. We've had a pandemic. We've had a recovery. So we have dynamic cycles. We have trends that are changing. And we need to look to the future in terms of what people want, expect, need, if we're really going to maximize our development potential. Again, both for the people in the buildings and back to our fiduciary duty to our investors.
In today's environment where things need to be looked at so much more carefully, given the economic climate and just the climate of the industry at large, and this, very aggressive pivot from what was this condo boom and just it's like everybody's rainmaking, right? It's raining condos everywhere. Everybody's making money and into purpose-built rental, which is much more highly focused and much more of a long-term play and has very invested stakeholders that aren't just there for a minute. That data is going to inform very critical and key decision making. How is today's data?
Yeah.
Or even more recent historical data informing the projects that we're building, not only now, but I'm also curious how, if you look ahead, how today's data is influencing how projects will be built.
Right.
On a, let's call it 5-year or to 10-year outlook.
So I'd say part of that is the data we collect. So we're collecting predictive data. Again, are you looking to buy an EV car? Let's look at what those EV environments need to be within a multi-residential space. What are your expectations on X, Y, and Z? We look at the student population. We look at the generational information. We look at lifestyle, right? So let's look at all that data to inform the future. But we've also built it into our products. So we have the privilege of being the only company that we've come across that really does what we do from a development phase all the way through to operating. So during a development, developers now have the opportunity to do due diligence at a macro, drilling into a micro neighborhood level if they want, on what they think or what they're proposing will work. So we can get real-time data there.
Right. For that specific demographic and that specific neighborhood.
And that community that they're building.
That's so, really cool stuff.
The building's a community. But then during the entire development cycle, we've layered in our Shape Your Space development product, where we're actually surveying. We have 6 different phases of a project. So we're serving throughout the entire cycle. So that's not only generating a prospect list, which you can get with other products, but it's also generating, let's say, Google reviews if it's set up properly. It's generating insights into what people want, how much they'll pay, what does that community look like, both from the outside and inside as the development's going through the phase. And then we're layering in our move-in surveys. And the move-in surveys not only generate market intelligence on why you're moving here, what did you give up, what are some incentives being offered, but they're also layering up to design and construction. So we have one client that has over 10 projects in the pipeline with us. They have our development product on every single one of their assets and move in. So now they're collecting data across the entire development chain, and they're collecting data on that move-in period. And now they're layering that up to their design construction. So each project that they deliver,
they already know what that potential buyer wants and is looking for.
So we did a project in Dallas last year. And what it was a raw site. And on that site, it said, okay, what should I build? It was in a somewhat challenged neighborhood. So we looked at who would move here, what are the hurdles, what is their awareness with their surrounding amenities. We really proved it, the case of why someone would move to the site, what they needed, and what communication pathways need to be articulated, and then how to prioritize. I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. I can come on and I can say, these 10 things are essential, or people want these 15 different items in their property. But now you need to prioritize them. Because you can't give everything all the time. And sometimes when you're giving someone something and they don't want it, that doesn't help anyone. So that was a really, really interesting assignment. We're doing something similar in Florida coming up as well.
It's great. What's your 6 to 18 month outlook on the market? And I suppose, let me just ask you, does your access to all this data influence your outlook positively or negatively in where we are right now in the market and our look ahead?
So it's a good thing I listen to every other podcast, so I know how to exactly craft this message.
Okay. All right. No, what? Yeah. So, well, you are a frequent podcast guest, let's be honest.
And listener of yours.
Yes.
What I would say is the one consistent is that we're in a dynamic environment. So what we're seeing is an immense hockey stick for our company.
Okay.
And that shows me that
people want the information.
People want the information, and they're trying to figure out how to make it work if it doesn't work, and they're trying to optimize what they already have. So we're looking at a lot of residential across actually North America right now. We have a lot of our clients that are looking at that development. I think it's personally, I think we're in a once in a generational opportunity for housing in Canada. Let's just look at what the federal government's doing.
Every single one of my guests says that. And I just get so energized and jazzed up when I hear that. I just love it because I couldn't agree more. And you go to these conferences, Sarah. And it's like you would think, I posted on LinkedIn right after conference season. I was like, did I just attend a conference or a funeral? Right? Like, what happened? The sky isn't falling. But I don't mean to interrupt you. So I just love to keep going because I think you're right.
Today, it's tricky. For anybody in an organization that is raising capital or that's producing a product and developing a product or that's operating an asset, it's different. I'm 45. We've already talked about how long I've been in the industry. So, I came up 20 years ago plus when it was just all up. So we've had a bit of a decline. It is tricky. So that's why I think why we're having some sentiment that is negative. But if you look forward a little bit and we see the desert that's happening in terms of housing, especially in Canada, and you combine that with what the government's looking to do or is doing in terms of revitalizing and investing in it, I'm not sure if that looks negative
No.
in the short term, definitely not the midterm, and not just in housing, but I think all asset classes, especially infrastructure, right?
It's why I have invested so heavily in the public sector.
There you go.
Thanks to you. And
Crystal ball, Michael,
yes,
crystal
yeah.
ball.
I really appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much. I love our friendship, and it means a lot that you came on today. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thanks.
Privilege.